Greetings and konnichiwa, and welcome to the Onyx Tavern. I'm your host, Rick the Barkeep, bringing you episode 168 here at the Tavern, presented by HeroTaku.com. So my good friend Ed Dargo sent me a link this morning to Morphin Legacy, where they are reporting that Amazon has a pre-listing for a new Power Rangers, wait for it, book. Yes, it appears that Insight Editions is releasing the ultimate visual history of the Power Rangers, which is to cover everything from Mighty Morphin all the way up to a new feature film. It will be released in February of 2017, and it will include artwork, behind the scenes photos, interviews, and quote, more. Uh, so I'm going to have a link to the Morphin Legacy page for you guys to check out. I'm also going to have a link to the Amazon site for pre-order if you guys are interested in pre-ordering this book. I already did simply because, you know, if it is what it describes it is, I definitely want to go ahead and get it. And ultimately, what it is a reference book. The first actual Power Rangers reference book. Which is why I want to talk to you guys today, because there frankly isn't too much to talk about this book. I said everything there is to say about it now, but because this book is coming out, it lets me go into the topic that I've been wanting to talk about for a while, which is the fact that there is a lack of Power Ranger reference books out there. So, Edargo, thank you for sending me the link here so we can now talk about today's subject. Okay, so let me kind of illustrate for you guys exactly what I'm talking about. And let me start with a question. How tall is the Lightspeed Megazord? Without going to the wiki site, how tall is the Lightspeed Megazord? Don't know, do you? Well, I can tell you guys this. The Victory Robo, which is the Lightspeed Megazord equivalent in GoGo 5, is listed at 55 meters tall. Now, how do I know that, but I don't know the height of the Lightspeed Megazord, which is probably 55 meters tall if the Japanese equivalent is. But how do I know one and I not know the other? Well, first of all, the Victory Robo, that information is actually listed in photo books and technical manuals and reference books that Super Sentai has actually released in the past. Yes, you can actually go onto Amazon Japan now, and you can find tons of different photo and reference books for Super Sentai, and in those books, they do have things like the height and the weight and the speed and the power of all these different Zords, or Mecha. They are all listed in these books, as well as tons and tons of other things. Now, if you try going looking for Power Ranger books, what are you going to go ahead and find? I mean, just a quick look on Amazon, what are you going to find? Well, you're probably going to find some old paperback books from the 1990s where they took, a 22-minute episode and turned into a 100-page book. You're probably going to have photo books from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie. You're probably going to find some comics and all that. But are you going to find, say, a Power Rangers technical manual that's going to have Zord information in it? Are you going to find a Power Rangers companion book, which is going to have listed all the episodes and production information and how the story was written? Are you going to find a Power Rangers encyclopedia? Actually, that one's a trick question because I remember getting a Fox Kids magazine which had a Power Rangers encyclopedia in it. I wish I had it right now to show you guys, but I do recall that in that Power Rangers encyclopedia, you had the definition of ugly, which is what Lord Zed is under his mask. Ugly. And I'm not kidding. That was actually in this quote-unquote Power Rangers encyclopedia. So here's the fact, folks. If you want to know any significant information about the Power Rangers, whether it's the production history, in-universe information, or anything like that, there is absolutely no reference that you can go to. Sure, you can go to the Sentai stuff as mentioned, but is that necessarily true? Can you actually go to the books and get the Sentai information and translate it over to the American information? Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. I do believe that the height of the original Megazord does vary from source to source. Particularly, I think it's shorter in the Sentai version, but tall in the American version, and there are multiple sources that say how tall it is. As a matter of fact, I believe The only place that we find how tall the actual Megazord is from the original series is from a cutout trading card on the box for the original Megazord. And then, of course, the canonicity of that is debatable. The point is, there's no real source on this. Oh, and just for a little bit of fun here, when's Jason's birthday? Does anybody know? The Red Ranger, Jason the Red Ranger? Well, according to the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers CD-ROM, which I don't know if this thing really exists or not, but his birthday is October 20th. Is that in a reference book somewhere? Is there any source that cites that besides the CD-ROM? No, of course not. For some reason, we don't have anything to give us official word or documentation about Power Rangers. None of that's out there. All of it is guesswork, stuff we have to pull from the television show or pull from the Sentai source. And again, frankly, I don't even know if the Sentai source can be considered as canonical. Because the weird thing is that we change so many things for the Power Rangers that, distances change, heights change, weights change, everything kind of changes, and it can't be relied on. So we need books that tell us exactly what's going on here. We need official sources, and that's something I've kind of been railing on today. And I'll kind of give you guys a little bit of a preview for a video I'll be doing down the line here. But one of the things I commented on Ranger Board in the last 48 hours is the idea that Zed was toned down in Power Rangers because parents thought he was too scary, too evil, whatever, and all that. Now, here's the thing. There's no official source on that. As far as I know, no writer has said it anywhere. Nobody has actually written it down in a book. There's no newspaper article. There's nothing. If I was writing this for a college essay, I cannot cite my source. I can't. I absolutely cannot. It's not written down anywhere. So where is that book where it talks about the production of, say, the wedding episode where they said, well, we did this to Lord Zed with the love potion to tone him down because of parent complaints? Where is that? We don't have that at all. And actually, let me kind of explain what I'm talking about companion book here, and I'm going to have to go back to Star Trek, because they actually had some really amazing books if you look them up. The companion books are basically page by page, episode by episode, what happened for the production of that episode. It gives you the name of the episode, who is in it, who wrote it, who directed, who the producer was, and gives you a step. This is where we came up with the idea. This is who wrote the script. This is why we did this. This is what happened during the production. This is what happened during the editing, and this was what happened afterwards, what the fan reaction was, how many Emmys we won for it, what its legacy and impact is on the franchise. You can get those books for Star Trek. But we don't have anything like that for Power Rangers, which chronicles the history of the Power Rangers like that, episode by episode. Because if I asked you guys right now, tell me what's significant about the production of the Grumblebee episode. Probably don't have anything to give me, is there? Or about the Wasp with a Heart episode. I know 2 different Bee episodes. We know the Wasp with a Heart is a significant episode because it gives us a different perspective on the villains and how not all villains are, well, villains. But what was the genesis of that episode? Who came up with the idea? Who wrote the episode and what are their thoughts? What did they want to try to convey in the story? And here's the thing too. The episode, he's not heavy metal, or he ain't heavy metal, he's my brother. Can you find any documented evidence on that? No, you can't. The only thing you have is my interview, which I will plug here, but all you have is my interview with Kevin Rubio, where I asked him about it, because I specifically asked him, so what kind of story are we trying to tell a brother and sister here about their dynamic? And his response was, I was just hired to write the music because I did well in the My Little Pony lyrics. I mean, that's not in a book anywhere. The only way we would have known that, folks, is by getting a hold of Kevin Rubio, which took me months to do, believe it or not. So why is it so hard to come by with Power Rangers information? Why isn't this stuff written down? You're talking about one of the most important and popular media franchises in the world, and nobody has written anything in stone, is what I'm saying. Even think about the story about how Power Rangers came to be, about how Saban was on a trip to Japan and saw Bioman on television. Every time somebody tells that story, it's always prefaced with, and the legend goes, or the legend is, Because Saban has never said that in public. I've never seen a place where that is written, whether it's in an article or anything, even from an interview. I've never heard Saban say anything about how he came up with Power Rangers. And I'm sure if I dig through the internet, I might find some audio clips somewhere that somebody did, but we need to have a book where all this information is in there as opposed to being on wikis, which can be edited by anyone. Because here's another thing, too. The entire time I've heard it, the whole reason why we didn't have a good Green Ranger shield in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is because the original shield got damaged on its way from Japan to Saban. Well, when I posted this information on Ranger Board, other people came to me and said, well, no, I've always heard it that the shield wasn't used because it made the actors too hot when wearing it. Okay, so which is it? We don't know. We have two different stories, both of which are plausible, but we have no official source telling us any of this. It's not written down anywhere for us to cite anything and say, oh, this is exactly what happened. Because there are a number of issues that I've heard different stories about, and so, like, I'm going to believe this, or I believe this has happened, and I will continue to do that until I have, again, sufficient cited sources to confirm or deny any of my beliefs. Here's another thing, too, we don't have. You know what's really cool about Star Wars up until, it got oversaturated in the market once Disney bought it? Is they actually have these really cool technical manuals where they are cross-sectioned to show what's inside of a Star Destroyer, what's inside of an AT-AT, what kind of armor does Boba Fett use, what is the lightsaber made of, all this really cool cross-sectional, detailed schematics of all this stuff in these really awesome tabletop books. We don't have that for Power Rangers. Where's the cross-section of the original Megazord to see what's in it and what makes it tick? Where's the technical manual that talks about how the Hyper Rush drive works on the Astro Megaship? Or the faster than light propulsion that works for Terra Venture? Where's that map of Angel Grove that shows us where the Rangers are in relation to the Juice Bar and the Command Center and the high school and where the Dragon Zord is? Or a map of the world that shows us where all the Zords are hidden or where they're lying? Or a map that shows us where Silver Hills is in relation to Reefside or Turtle Cove is in relation to Amber Beach? We don't have any of that stuff, folks. All of it has to go based on our assumptions. Because you know what? Until somebody tells me otherwise, I believe that Amber Beach is located somewhere in Oregon or Washington based on evidence from the show. But the show doesn't bother to even tell us what state it's located in. Yes, it's filmed in New Zealand, but I doubt it takes place in New Zealand because they make a whole point of traveling to New Zealand in the series. My point is, we don't have any of that stuff. We don't have any maps. We don't have star charts. We don't have technical manuals. We don't have detailed bios of our characters. None of that. All we have to go on, canonically speaking, is what we see on the television show. And frankly, a lot of times that information is not presented to us. Now, narratively speaking, a lot of it doesn't have to be presented to us. I mean, we don't need to know when Jason's birthday is, but when Zach had a birthday, it'd be kind of nice to know when his birthday is. Whether you want to do astrological thing or whatever. It'd be interesting to know when his birthday is, because usually covered in the biographies of fictional characters in things like Star Trek and Star Wars, they do give you a birth date and a birth year. That's another thing Power Rangers seems to shy away from, is actual specifying when certain things take place in certain years, at least until we get to Time Force anyway. But yeah, I mean, we are missing all these books. And why is it? I mean, because right now, if I went out to try and buy a Power Rangers Dial Charge book, it's probably a coloring book or a sticker book or just some photo book where it has a stock photo of the Blue Ranger with a quote at the bottom to try and make a story out of photos. But we don't have anything official. I mean, personally, I'd love to see Power Ranger novels, much in the same way they do the Star Trek and the Star Wars novels, where you have this extended universe that may not be canon completely, but damn, it's something to read between episodes, So, why haven't we gotten these books before? Where is the demand for? Why is nobody asking for it? And even if they don't publish books, where's the official information? Because right now, go to PowerRangers.com right now and try to find technical information regarding the Zords. Because They have it listed. It's buried on the website, but there's no encyclopedic information. All it says is Tyrannosaurus Dinosaur, piloted by Jason. That's it. It doesn't say when its first appearance was. It doesn't say when its last appearance was. It doesn't say how tall it is, how powerful it is. It doesn't list the number of appearances it's been in. None of that information is on the official Power Rangers website. And while sites like the Green Ranger site, Rovang, and the Wikipedia pages or the Ranger Wiki is great to have, a lot of the sources they're getting are from what's in the show, non-canonical sources, and Super Sentai. Because again, the Lightspeed Megazord is listed at 55 meters on the Ranger Wiki, but that's only because the Victory Robo is listed at 55 meters. If I asked you right now to go find me an official source that said how tall the Lightspeed Megazord is, you cannot find it. Because Saban, Disney, whoever has not released any of that information. Why? Why is it? Why is that? I mean, yes, it's minutia that we, as the fans, get caught up in, but I'd like to think that we are just as interested in that stuff as the Trekkies or the Star Wars fans or heck, Harry Potter fans, whatever technical information or stuff they look into is. The point being is that I think it's high time that we do get some reference books to cover this stuff. And one of the reasons I did pre-order this book is if the book is exactly what I think it's going to be, based on the description and based on what I see from other works by Inside Editions, this is going to be our first reference book. And if I get it, that means that there's an audience for it. They're going to look at the sales numbers like, oh, this book is selling really well. So maybe we'll go ahead and make more books. We'll make those technical manuals because, folks, we have to tell them that's what we want. We want these books. We want to open up a nice book and have dozens of photos of our favorite characters and biographical detailed information. Because wouldn't it be great to actually open up a book and read about Lucas? Because what do we know about Lucas from Time Force anyway? He likes racing, he's from the future, and he's cool. That's pretty much it. But you know what? There have been books where they actually detail more information about a character's biography and his backstory. And heck, let's talk about the creation of Lucas. I'd sell for a book where you interview the writers of Time Force, say, what were you trying to create with the character of Lucas? And see what they come up with. See if they BS their way through it, or if they actually had an interesting character that just didn't pan out the way they planned to. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, folks. Is it asking for too much? I don't think so, because other fandoms get this stuff. Other fandoms have this, but we as the Power Rangers fandom, we seem to be stepped on all the time. We seem to be in the shadow of other franchises where people just don't care about us because it's a kid show, which I hate that as an excuse because it's a kid show and because it's Power Rangers. I hate that. You guys have no idea how much I hate that. Okay, I think I've rambled off enough, and I think you guys get my point here. So, I'm going to leave you guys with this. First, if you want the book, go pre-order it. It seems like it's a step in the right direction. And second of all, what do you guys think about a lack of reference books, of background information, of technical information, or just anything regarding the creation of the Power Rangers? Because one of these days, I want to hold in my hand essentially the Power Rangers Bible, meaning that everything you ever want to know about the creation of the series or in-universe stuff, you can say, oh, I'm going to go to page 74, and that's where it is, or page 319, and that's where the information I need is. That's the kind of thing I ultimately want to see from Power Rangers, and I hope that's something that I will see before my daughter goes to high school. That's kind of what I'm hoping. All right, folks, that's all I got for you today. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you guys think. And until next time, thank you, and the tavern is now closed.